Hearst Pickup Service. Accidentally conceived a ghost fetus. Ghost infant appears in the world only to save the mother. Our protagonist has just dealt with little Rome's matter. He has a new visitor at the door again. The man named Li Bull also heard that there is a yin-yang master here, so he came to ask for a favor. I took another look, and it was a tricycle. I have a vague and ominous premonition. And Zhao, the half-immortal, also noticed that the yin-chi of these three carriages is extremely heavy, afraid that there is something unclean. Zhao, the half-immortal's words instantly made Li Bull stutter. So I leaned in next to Zhao, the half-immortal, and whispered, "Old Zhao, not again. We just walked out of the shadow of the tricycle, and another one is coming." Before Li Bull could say anything, Zhao, the half-immortal, took out the compass and walked to the front of the tricycle. As a result, as soon as he approached, the pointer on the compass started to spin rapidly. The next moment, countless yin-chi poured out, scaring the half-immortal, who fell to the ground with a thud. He looked up and saw a grotesque ghost baby. Then Zhao, the half-immortal, and I went back into the room and placed the signs, "Peace under heaven," and "Fortune at first sight," in front of Li Bull. We asked him what he knew and urged him to speak up, as it seemed he could no longer hide it. In the end, Li Bull finally revealed the truth. "Since you are also in the know, I'll keep it brief. This ghost baby is not my child. It is the son of my godson, Cloud's sister. I am from the same hometown as Cloud's sister. Initially, she was just serving drinks at the club, while I was a pedicab driver. Later, seeing that Cloud's sister couldn't make enough money, Mama-san's sister Red instigated us to join in, starting this business. Only 7 sets of pedicabs are allowed in this trade. Someone must leave for another to enter. Luckily, we joined when someone left. We must also strictly adhere to 3 rules. Rule 1. There must be 1 man and 1 woman in each team. The man drives the pedicab, and the woman sits in it. The man must not have ejaculated recently, meaning he cannot have contact with a woman's yan-chi energy in the days leading up to the job. Rule 2. The woman must naturally have body odor, then soak herself in their special medicine bath. After soaking, her whole body emits an intoxicating feminine fragrance that is particularly enticing and irresistible. Regardless of her beauty or appearance, those customers will become addicted and will pay a high price of 2,000 renminbi just to be with her once. Rule 3. The interior of the 3-wheeled motorcycle must be arranged as a wedding bed, with peach-with signs hanging on both sides that say, "Peace under heaven," and "Fortune at first sight." That night, Cloud's sister and I went to the outskirts to pick up a guest. Perhaps due to the bumps on the road, the 2 signs fell off, and we didn't notice. Strange things happened later. The guest we picked up had a black mark on their forehead, which was exceptionally terrifying. That man seemed like he had never been in contact with a woman in his life. He stayed in the car for a full 3 hours. At first, he paid with proper money. But later, that pile of money turned into ghost money. I think it's very creepy. In the daytime, I returned to the place where I picked up passengers and found out that it was actually a cemetery. The man I met that night had already passed away. Later, Cloud's sister became pregnant. At first, we were all very scared and didn't know what was in her belly. But Cloud's sister was even more afraid that the man's yin spirit would come to haunt her. So she decided to give birth to the child. We have nowhere to go. She had to give birth in the car. Unexpectedly, what she gave birth to was a stillborn baby. Later, Cloud's sister left a letter and then left, while this ghost baby has been following me. Now I just want to find a way to send him away. I see that he keeps the letter so well. I asked him if he likes that Cloud's sister. Li Bull hesitated for a moment and said, "Yes." Upon hearing that, I walked up and slapped him. Later, I angrily said, "You like a woman, yet allow her to humiliate herself, resulting in such a terrible outcome. You deserve this slap." Li Bull turned his head without saying a word. Seeing him like this, Zhao, the half-immortal, couldn't help but snort coldly. He pointed to the tricycle behind him, saying, "This vehicle is a lewd one. I don't know how many bad deeds it has done every night with such heavying energy. It's this energy that has nurtured that ghostly infant. Speaking of karma, all of you are implicated." Hearing Zhao, the half-immortal, say this, Li Bull immediately panicked and asked what should be done now. Go to the temple. You need to find a high monk to help deliver the ghost baby. Otherwise, the next one to die will be you. Later, we brought the tricycle to a temple and invited a senior monk to help with the spiritual redemption of the ghost baby. The senior monk is holding a bell. He is chanting the rebirth mantra. He started the spiritual redemption ritual towards the tricycle. Soon, the ghost baby appeared in its true form. The high monk asked him, "After I help you attain rebirth, do you have any unresolved wishes?" The ghost baby opened its eyes and whispered, "Go save my mother." We were surprised to hear that the ghost baby actually spoke. I couldn't help but be shocked. He had absorbed a large amount of Yin energy left in the car, and already had some basic Taoist skills. Li Bull was scared and sweating profusely, asking what he was talking about. At this moment, the ghost baby's face suddenly became fierce and emitted a strange scream. My mother, Zhang Whitecloud, became seriously ill, so I had to come out and do this. Now that little Rong is dead, it will soon be my mother's turn. My mother loves you deeply and deliberately made you angry to drive you away. She is now being held in some place in the western suburbs. Let's go and save her after knowing the truth." Li Bull can't hold it any longer, and is about to bring the ghost baby to go and rescue the person immediately. I hurriedly rushed up to try to stop them, but Li Bull completely ignored me. He rode off on a tricycle and quickly disappeared. We're in big trouble now. In desperation, I had to ask Miao Qianqian to call Zhang Qiming. I remember seeing him with a tricycle last time. Also, put the stuff from Brother Chan on Zhang Qiming's car to disguise it as a hearse and sneak in to rescue people. For safety reasons, I also called Little Snowby, hoping she could come and help. Little Snowby seems to have already known that something would happen. She said she has been keeping an eye on me, and the person finally showed his true colors. Everything is about to begin. I'm a bit confused and don't know what she is talking about, but I don't have time to think about it now. Soon, we sat in Zhang Qiming's car and followed Li Bull, but this road looked familiar to me no matter how I looked at it. When we reached the destination and I saw that big locust tree, I suddenly realized that this was not my former school. Chen Lei had hanged himself on this tree. They are hiding here. Could it be that they are guiding me to the hanging pact? Zhao, the half-immortal, looking at the school layout, it seems ominous. The atmosphere here is too heavy. It is an abandoned haunted school. Those two buildings along with a locust tree at the entrance, combined with the shape of the mountain, resemble a huge skull. A road crosses at the neck, as if decapitating the giant skull alive. People often say willows nurture scholars and locust trees nurture ghosts, but this locust tree has nurtured far too many. I once saw news that a fire broke out in this school in the past, trapping a whole class of students in a classroom who were burned alive. Upon hearing this, I turned around and replied that there is indeed such a thing. That happened before I graduated. Later, this place became more and more eerie, and our school was abandoned because of that. At this moment, Zhao, the half-immortal, noticed another classroom where ghostly shadows loomed. It is estimated that someone was burned to death in that classroom back in the days. Moreover, there was also the sound of a ghost baby crying over there. There shouldn't be any dead babies in this school, so it must be Li Bull and his son. The situation is urgent now, and we can't worry too much. I'll have Zhang Qiming walk in front. He has the Zhongkui talisman to protect himself, so there should be no problem dealing with ordinary Yin spirits. Kui start kicking the Big Dipper, the celestial master Zhongkui. He not only captures ghosts, but also eats them. Just as I was about to help Li Bull untie himself, suddenly, a cold wind blew from behind. A white-clothed female ghost rushed towards me. Fortunately, I had anticipated this. I turned around and pressed the bell onto the head of the female ghost. The female ghost let out a miserable scream and flew away. At this moment, Zhang Qiming did not hesitate to tear open his clothes, revealing his pattern of Zhong Kui kicking the Big Dipper. Celestial Master Zhong Kui appears. Immediately after, a terrifying force suddenly emanated from behind him, and the female ghost was sucked into the painting without even the ability to resist. Seeing this scene, I couldn't help but widen my eyes. The pattern of Zhong Kui kicking the Big Dipper has always been about expelling ghosts, but now it can even devour them. Although there is a folklore saying that Zhong Kui eats ghosts, the pattern I tattooed is righteous and not so domineering and evil. But as soon as I saw Zhang Qiming's silly look, I can only say that he is a lucky fool. At this moment, Li Bull, who had just been released from bondage, suddenly shouted excitedly, "My Cloud sister is in the classroom next door. Sister Red asked us to welcome the guests, which will not only shorten Cloud's sister's life, but also help her absorb the essence of 100 ghosts through her lower body, turning her into a fierce ghost in the end." Upon hearing about the essence of 100 ghosts, Zhao, the half-immortal, couldn't help but inhale sharply in shock. But Li Bull doesn't care about these. He immediately turned around and charged forward, ready to fight with all his might. We followed him to the classroom where, through the window, we could see a woman cowering in the corner, being attacked by evil spirits. Zhao, the half-immortal, was so angry that he stomped his foot and couldn't help but curse. "This is a place of lecherous ghosts and heart-devouring spirits. After absorbing the essence of 100 ghosts and being thrown into such an ominous place, one would be bitten to death by the 100 ghosts and suffer all kinds of torment. The resentment would be overwhelming, nurturing the most ferocious ghosts. Sister Red is truly ruthless." Upon hearing this, Li Bull could bear it no longer. He kicked open the classroom door with one swift motion. He rushed up together with the ghost baby and engaged in a fierce battle with the Yin spirit. At this moment, a voice suddenly came from the door saying, "I'll handle this." Zhang Qiming turned around and revealed the pattern of Zhong Kui kicking the Big Dipper on his back. He was no longer the chubby guy he used to be. He had grown much taller, and his body had become very muscular. However, it seems that the pattern on the picture has changed. Seeing this scene, I couldn't help but take a deep breath in shock. Zhang Qiming stepped forward, and suddenly a strong suction force came from his body. All the Yin spirits in the classroom were sucked into the drawing without any resistance. Li Bull also took the opportunity to pick up his Cloud sister. He turned around and fled the classroom. Zhao, the half-immortal, grabbed my hand and urged me to run, saying that Zhang Qiming had been possessed by Zhong Kui and everything would be fine. I looked at the changes in Zhang Qiming's body and knew that something was definitely not right. But the current situation is urgent, and I don't have time to think too much. So I followed Zhao, the half-immortal, and escaped from that classroom. But as soon as we walked out, we found that someone had been waiting for us for a long time. Li Bull saw the newcomer and immediately shouted angrily, "Sister Red is the one who recruited us into the organization. She almost got us killed." But Sister Red remained very calm and said, "Li Bull, this was a decision you made willingly. Each of you can earn over 300,000 in a month by taking clients. Do you think money just falls from the sky? That's the money you get for risking your lives." Li Bull angrily retorted, "No matter what you say, you should pay the price for hurting my Cloud sister." At this moment, Miao Qianqian and Li Shan took out their weapons and confronted the three people opposite them. Both sides looked ready to fight, and it seemed like they were about to start a battle. I quickly stepped in to mediate. "Now is not the time to fight. We need to run. If we don't run, we will all die." But Sister Red thought I cared about her and immediately summoned the Yin spirit to attack us. Just as the two Yin spirits were about to attack us, but suddenly turned into wisps of Yin energy. That Yin energy was sucked into a person's mouth. Immediately, a voice came from behind. "Comfortable, truly comfortable. I've eaten so many ghosts that this Zhongkue kicking the Big Dipper ghost tattoo is finally complete. When I turned around to look, the mastermind behind the scenes was actually Zhang Qiming. All of this is actually his doing. So the hanging pack shouldn't be the vengeful spirit of Chun-Lei, it's you who's harming me. So many years have passed, and you're still as clever as ever. If I didn't know you well and switch bodies, I wouldn't have been able to trick you into coming to give me a tattoo. After listening to his words, I fell silent. But Sister Red was furious and charged forward to question. Who are you? How dare you destroy my little ghost? Zhang Qiming was not polite either, and slapped Sister Red fiercely, sending her flying several meters away. He said coldly, Do you think you are raising ghosts? Who taught you the evil curse of fragrant daughter? In this ghost school, there are so many ghosts. Do you think this arrangement is natural? Do you think you've gained a great advantage? I am your ancestor. I set up this arrangement. The mastermind behind the scenes finally shows up. The big boss turns out to be the foolish second brother, Zhang Qiming. I asked him who he really is. He asked me to guess for myself and claimed to be someone who is already dead. From his tone, I knew he was someone very familiar with me. It must be someone who has known me for a long time. Chun-Lei committed suicide by hanging many years ago. Xiao Little Lu's being eaten made the news, and Xiao Rou jumped off a building in front of me. All these people are already dead. Zhang Shun can only be Zhang Shun faking his death. You tattooed a gold dragon on me, then fake your death in a car accident to deceive everyone. It's me. Why? We have no grievances or enmity against each other. We grew up together. Why did you want to harm me? When Zhang Shun said this, his expression changed. He looked up at the night sky and said, Everything happened in this high school. Today, everything will come to an end here. And you are the last person I have to kill. You know, I have been a poker face since I was a child. The doctor said I suffer from emotional detachment disorder, unable to be interested in anything. People around me all say I am a monster. But there's a secret that none of you know. I enjoy peeping, spying on other people's secrets. I sneak a peek at other people's diaries, observe others having affairs, wanting to understand others' emotions. I want to know what those who have emotions are like. I peeped and found out that Xiao Little Lu is having an affair with our principal. That woman has been promiscuous since high school, and that day was the beginning of everything. Back then, Xiao Little Lu sat behind Chun-Lei just because Chun-Lei had body odor, so she had the principal take care of her. She said Chun-Lei was timid and introverted, often bullied, and could only come to the principal to complain. Now that the principal has taken care of her, she is being blackmailed by using scholarships, so she can only let others take advantage of her. Chun-Lei is ugly and has body odor, but developed early and has a decent figure. The principal is a scumbag from the start. In order to win Xiao Little Lu's affections, he continues to support Xiao Little Lu. 3 days later in the principal's office, he raped Chun-Lei. Later, the principal tasted the sweetness and began to frequently bully Chun-Lei in different places. At different times. I have always been relatively indifferent as a person, but I do not despise Chun-Lei, as her heart is very beautiful, even if her body becomes filthy. If no one else wants her, I'll just marry her casually. Anyway, I don't care about anyone. But later, watching her cry actually stirred my emotions. That feeling of a pounding heart is something I have never experienced in my life. It is wonderful. I look forward to that kind of beauty. So when I saw her wanting to commit suicide, I stopped her, but I didn't expect that she would end up living more miserably than dead. At that time, in order to ease her mental pain, I learned from my grandmother, who was a witch, a kind of evil curse that could help her transform body odor into fragrance. However, the evil curse back then was 10 times more overbearing than the one cast by Sister Red now. After the body odor was transformed into fragrance, it spread a scent within a 10-meter radius. Chun-Lei transformed into an unparalleled beauty, captivating everyone and arousing desire. Walking down the street, countless people were enchanted by her. And that beastly principal became even more insane. During an extracurricular activity, Chinlei attempted to commit suicide by jumping into the river when we weren't paying attention, but you saved her instead. After you saved Chinlei, you collapsed from exhaustion and passed out. Some boys from the neighboring class ran over to help, but you were unaware of these events. After falling into the water, Chinlei's magnificent figure was undoubtedly revealed, combined with a strong body scent that filled the air. Those boys were all bewitched by evil spells, losing their minds to lust. They did unforgivable things to her. That day was simply like hell on earth. When Chinlei woke up, she completely broke down. In the end, overwhelmed with resentment, she hanged herself on the locust tree at the school gate. Locust trees nurture ghosts. Her resentful spirit turned into a malicious ghost, lurking in the tree without dispersing. And I am just a voyeur, with no ability to change anything. That time was the most intense emotional fluctuation in my life. But the person who made me a feelings just left like that. So I decided to help Chinlei seek revenge. Before graduation, I locked the bullies who had bullied Chinlei in the classroom and burned the whole class to death. Afterwards, I threatened the principal with all the secrets I knew, blocked the news, and only announced that the classroom caught fire. The incident was covered up, and our school gradually became abandoned due to haunting. The Feng Shui Bureau and everything that happened to you guys are all part of my plan. Do you know that just now, when I used the pattern of Kuei Star kicking the Big Dipper to devour the souls of those people, those ghosts kept screaming? I felt so delighted in my heart. After hearing all this, both Xiao, the half-immortal, and I couldn't help but take a deep breath in shock. Li Shan and Li Bull rushed up angrily. They are about to fight him with all their might. But at this moment, Zhang Shun is no longer what he used to be. He, who has absorbed so many grudges' souls. He simply knocked down the two with one kick. The little fox is ready to strike, and wants to sneak attack from behind. Zhang Shun doesn't even look back. But the picture behind him. But it's like it has eyes, Kuei Star kicking the Big Dipper, invincible against evil spirits. He backhandedly knocked the little fox away. The severely injured little fox transformed back to its original form. I asked Zhang Shun why he sacrificed his lifespan to lurk around me, and went to such lengths to do all of this. What is the purpose behind it all? But Zhang Shun said that I am at the center of that locust tree, with the resentment of hundreds of ghosts nurturing Chinlei's soul, forming the Feng Shui pattern of this Yin Long Jiuyuan. In the end, he is just trying to resurrect Chinlei. Upon hearing the word, resurrect, my heart instantly cooled. How can one come back to life after death? No matter how strong you are, you can't defy nature, right? No, it's not as complicated as you think. As long as Chinlei's spirit is strong enough, I can use the ghost-raising technique to attach his soul to a living person's body, thus resurrecting him. So the pattern you tattooed, pattern of Kuei Star kicking the Big Dipper, is the most crucial part of this plan. Otherwise, where would I get so many Yin souls for Chinlei to consume? Since that's the case, your purpose is now fulfilled, and I've also helped you. We have no grudges or grievances with you. Can you let us leave? No. Why? Chinlei jumped into the river that year, and I risked my life to save her. I also helped you tattoo the pattern of Kuei Star kicking the Big Dipper on your back. The image has absorbed so many ghosts, and has already become an extremely powerful ghost tattoo. Why won't you let me go? Because of the overall layout of this Yin Long gathering abyss, nurturing Chinlei's lingering spirit for so many years. Even the 100 ghost tattoos on my body cannot suppress her. So I must become stronger. Now, only the last step is left, and that is your life. Ancient swordsmiths forged famous swords. They could jump into the furnace to sacrifice themselves for the sword to be perfected. Therefore, I hope you can also sacrifice yourself to become the Yin spirit main soul that Zhong Kuei commanded for this diagram. This is the true heritage of a famous diagram. I see, I cannot reason with or defeat them. I'm going to run as soon as I bring Miao Qianqian along. However, Zhang Shun is not likely to let us leave easily. He just roared loudly and summoned two Yin spirits to firmly entangle us. He said coldly, "Just right. One will be killed to become the spirit behind me, and the other will be left for Chinlei to possess and seize the body." Long the Yin gathers the spirits of the abyss and nurtures the fierce creatures. Zhong Kuei demands life sacrifices in exchange for averting calamities. Zhang Shan lifted me up and said that he will kill you first as a sacrifice to amplify the power of this painting several times. This way, I can release Chinlei. I feel like he has gone insane. He angrily yelled at me, saying, "It's not me who's crazy, it's this damn world." Just as Zhang Shan was about to attack me, a bell smashed onto his arm. It was Bai Little Snow who came over. Zhang Shan looked at Bai Little Snow with a calm expression and said coldly, "Bai Little Snow, Chen Tang, Bai family, you shouldn't have intervened in this matter. You should know that my victory is assured. Previously, I was no match for you, but now you may die here." Bai Little Snow smiled and said, "Back when Su Qingyuan seized our Bai family's fortune, if it weren't for Master Chung Sun personally intervening to help us avoid disaster, our Bai family would have been destroyed long ago. I can't bear to see the descendants of the Chung family die in front of me." "That's good. With a powerful Yin spirit like you absorbed into the painting, it can enhance my strength. I will kill you first, then kill them." Soon, the battle between Zhang Shan and Bai Little Snow began. The two fought fiercely in the air. Zhang Shan controlled a little ghost to transform into a long whip and struck towards Bai Little Snow. Bai Little Snow held a bell-like magical instrument in each hand, emitting golden light. She suddenly threw out one of them. She scattered Zhang Shan's little demons. Seeing her own little demon being defeated, Zhang Shan's face was full of disbelief. But Bai Little Snow sneered and said disdainfully, "What you've swallowed is just a common resentful spirit. Compared to the fierce ghosts specially raised by ancient experts, it's too weak. I can even drive away fierce ghosts, let alone a few resentful spirits." Just as Bai Little Snow finished speaking, Zhang Shan suddenly turned fierce. The resentful spirits poured out from his body. All of them blasted onto Bai Little Snow. Zhang Shan looked down at Bai Little Snow from a high vantage point. He snorted coldly, "Shameless braggart." But he was still too pleased with himself too early. Bai Little Snow had just pretended to be defeated. She was aiming for the fatal blow now. Zhang Shan's body started to crumble from this blow. Resentful spirits within the body broke out and fell to the ground. Bai Little Snow looked at the fallen Zhang Shan and said, "You've lost. Losing to me is not unjust. I exchanged 7 years of cultivation for a lifetime." Zhang Shan, leaning against a big tree with a face full of reluctance, said, "I lost. I actually lost. My lifelong plans were shattered so easily by you." I advise him to turn back while there is still time, Zhang Shan. It's not too late to stop now. But Zhang Shan said one sentence, "I refuse to accept defeat." Then he bit hard into his own arm. He smeared the fresh blood on the locust tree. Bai Little Snow realized that things were getting dangerous and wanted to intervene. But she was pushed away by him with a slap. Next, he took out a dusty wooden box from the tree hole. Then he poured everything onto the tree. I smelled a pungent fishy smell, and I knew it was corpse oil. That's right, this is the corpse oil from the one class of people I burned to death. I am now offering it as a sacrifice to Chinlei, so that Chinlei can savor the taste of revenge. After saying that, Zhang Shan lit a lighter and threw it onto the corpse oil with a snap. The flame spread quickly. "Revive." Zhang Shan stood in front of the tree, laughing heartily, "Chinlei, revive." Even Bai Little Snow couldn't help but exclaim when he saw this scene. That locust tree is a feng shui formation key that gathers Yin energy. It was burned with murky corpse oil, releasing the vengeful spirit Chinlei that has been nurtured for so many years. We are afraid that the situation might be more bad than good. At this point, the giant tree dozens of meters away has turned into flames. A huge ferocious ghost face emerged in the flames. Zhang Shun excitedly turned to look at Qinlei. But what awaited him was raging flames. The fire quickly enveloped him. He screamed in pain and asked Qinlei, "Why?" Qinlei's response was, "I have attempted suicide several times unsuccessfully. You saved me, but made me suffer even more darkness. Did you ever ask me if I wanted to live? Have you ever asked me if I wanted to be trapped here after I die?" Accompanied by a scream, Zhang Shun disappeared completely in the flames. Only the Zhongkui 100 Ghost tattoo was left behind. I watched the flames burning in the distance, and I stood there transfixed. At this moment, Bai Little Snow stepped forward. I saw her approaching and quickly asked her what she wanted to do. But she said that Qinlei is not an evil spirit. She is also a pitiful person. I want to have a conversation with the deceased Qinlei. I watched as Bai Little Snow walked safely into the fire. I know that Qinlei is full of resentment. If something happens, it will be a catastrophe. But when she killed Zhang Shun and didn't harm Bai Little Snow, she must still have a shred of humanity, a glimmer of kindness. The problem now is whether Bai Little Snow can keep her in check. At this moment, Bai Little Snow is sitting in front of the locust tree, using her magical powers to suppress Qinlei's evil spirit. With a solemn expression, she says, "I am meditating here, complimenting this Zhongkui 100 Ghost tattoo. If I still can't suppress her after 7 days, I will die here. You will also be taken by death. So please remember to come back. I know. I will find a way within 7 days. Wait for me. Please don't die. You guys leave. Staying here is of no use. Go back to heal and save people first. The rest will be up to fate." In the end, I took one last look and Bai Little Snow left with Miao Qianqian. The young girl sleepwalks in the middle of the night. She actually lifted the man's skull. She was enjoying eating with a blissful expression on her face. After settling in the injured Li Shan, Li Bull, and the hospitalized Cloud Sister, we all had a night of exhaustion, but I couldn't fall asleep. The dream-eating taper image and the Zhongkui catching ghosts painting from Little Snow Bai's collection can both ward off evil spirits, but it's not enough. If 3 spirit-infused tattoos are combined and inked onto someone with a strong destiny, it might be possible to suppress the malevolent spirit of Qinlei. However, this is too difficult. Just as I was pondering where to obtain the 3rd human skin image, a fox that woke up let out a series of whimpering sounds and clumsily climbed onto the table. I patted its head and said, "Thank you for unexpectedly attacking last night. But after you were knocked out, the fierce ghost Little Wrong you were carrying has already been sucked away by Zhang Shun. The tattoo on your body has returned to its righteous pattern." At this moment, a soft voice suddenly came from the door asking, "Is Chengyu here?" I was stunned for a moment and turned my head to look. A beautiful girl stood at the door. Her name is Zhang Mutian. She is my former senior sister. She also heard that I can handle some things that ordinary people can't handle, so she wanted to ask me for help. Although I am currently thinking about what to do with the 3rd ghost tattoo, I couldn't refuse her due to our past relationship, so I decided to help her. After that, Zhang Mutian started talking about her situation. My brother and I adopted a blind little girl, but she turned out to be a monster. Every day, she does some indescribable things to my brother. I'm afraid I can't explain it clearly, so I secretly installed surveillance. Take a look. After she finished, she handed me the phone. The man sleeping in the video should be her brother. Then the door suddenly opened, and a little girl walked in as if she were sleepwalking. She grabbed the man's hair tightly. She even pulled off a piece of his scalp. Sitting in front of the bed, she licked the skull with great enjoyment. After watching the entire video, I felt a surge of unrest in my stomach. Zhao, the half-immortal, couldn't help but lean in the corner and retch for a while. I asked Zhang Mutian how her brother is doing after having his skull opened up. Unexpectedly, Zhang Mutian said that this is the most unimaginable thing. My brother looks completely fine now. He even goes to work normally every day. I dare not tell him, afraid that it might be some kind of evil curse. If my brother finds out and removes his skull by himself, he might die. When I think about it, there is indeed this danger. At this moment, Zhang Mutian said with a frightened expression, "And I don't think she is really blind. I once tried to follow her from a distance, but she was very sensitive and spotted me right away. The eyes under her eyelids will move. I can feel her staring at me." "So what you mean is she is actually a ghost licking the skull, close her eyes, and still be able to see things, clairvoyant?" Zhang Mutian nodded quickly and said yes. According to her description, I turned to Zhao, the half-immortal standing beside me, and asked, "Do you know what the technique of ghost licking the skull is?" Zhao, the half-immortal, thought for a moment and indicated that if it is an evil curse, something invisible to the naked eye, it cannot be seen even from a video. If that little girl is a monster, we may need to look into her eyes to make a conclusion. Zhao, the half-immortal's words made Zhang Mutian even more anxious. She begged me to help her, saying that ever since she adopted this girl, not only is her brother in danger, but their family's fortune is also declining. She believes that it is this little girl who has been consuming their family's luck. I advised her not to worry and asked her to go back first. I will go over to help her take a look tonight. I watched her back as she left. I couldn't help but worry about the situation on by Little Snow's side. I don't know how it is now. If we can't find a solution within 7 days, we will all die. I wonder if this Yogwai that eats luck will work. Later, I went to the hospital to visit Li Shan and exchanged a few simple pleasantries with him. I watched how he and his girlfriend, Little Chui, interacted intimately. I also didn't want to be a third wheel, so I conscientiously walked out of the hospital room. At this moment, I happened to see a familiar figure, Su Taoya's back. So, I walked up and greeted them. Su Taoya was taken aback when he saw it was me. She then politely asked, "Hello, Mr. Chung. Why are you here at the hospital? Are you visiting a friend?" "Yes, recently something happened. A friend got injured." At that moment, I suddenly thought of the little girl. Then I asked seriously, "Dr. Su, both you and your sister are famous ophthalmologists. Have you ever heard of people who can see things without opening their eyes?" Everyone, take a break, drink some water, subscribe to the channel. Good, let's continue. Have you ever seen without opening your eyes? Can people see things without opening their eyes? Upon hearing this question, Su Taoyao couldn't help but freeze for a moment. Later, she brought me to a window and asked me to close my eyes and face the sun. I followed her instructions and closed my eyes as told. I didn't expect that I actually saw the hand Su Taoyao placed in front of my eyes. She asked me if I had encountered anything strange recently. I was first stunned for a moment. Then I explained to her what had happened. Later, Su Taoyao told me about a few methods to see things without having to open their eyes, such as cranial surgery, which was a common superstition in ancient times. In the West, it is called trepanation, a practice that is said to make oneself intelligent through opening the wisdom. In the East, we also have similar practices, like opening a hole on the top of the head, said to be called heavenly eye, which can see the future and spirits. Taoists believe that it is the heaven's eye in the Naiwan Palace. As soon as I hear about trepanation and seeing ghosts, I instantly feel a headache. Our cultural knowledge is low, and we can't keep up. Is it really necessary to listen? So, I decided to go over and see what's going on tonight first, and then ask when I come back. But Su Taoyao became interested and asked me to tell her the time and place. She wanted to go later too. I was a bit helpless, but still told her the location. In the evening, I brought Zhao, the half-immortal, and Miao Qianqian to stake out where Zhang Mutian lived. At the moment the little girl appeared, I planned to stop her. Unexpectedly, the little girl suddenly turned her head, closed her eyes, looked at me, and let out a low growl like a wild beast. Then she fiercely bumped into my arms. Despite her small size, the force was indeed strong. After knocking me down, she turned her head and ran away. Miao Qianqian took the stun gun and chased after her. At this moment, a small car suddenly drove up and turned on its high-beam headlights. The dazzling light shone on the little girl's face. The little girl seemed to be very scared of the bright light. She closed her eyes and tried hard to shield it with her hands. Miao Qianqian took the opportunity to stun her with electricity and brought her to the store. I looked at the fainted little girl, Su Taoyao, who looked confident and said, "My guess was correct. This monster is indeed sensitive to bright light." I blocked the alley with high beams on, hitting Zhao, the half-immortal. He was a bit curious about the peculiarities of the little girl's eyes. Opened the little girl's eyelids for a look and surprisingly found two pupils inside. This is the innate twin pupils. In physiognomy, twin pupils are considered a phenomenon and a symbol of emperors. It is said that Emperor Shun, He Jimin King Xiongyu, Sungjie, and Emperor Liu of Southern Tang all had the unique phenomenon of twin pupils, which is believed to indicate greatness. The naturally born holy person Zhao and the half-immortal were so frightened that they hurriedly stepped back. However, Su Taoyao calmly stated, "It's not as exaggerated as you think. Innate twin pupils, scientifically speaking, are a form of adherent distortion. Heterochromia iridum is a type of probabilistic genetic disorder." At this moment, the little girl who was shocked woke up. She began to shout and scream, asking, "Where am I?" I crouched down and asked tentatively, "Little sister, can you see me?" The little girl, with her eyes tightly shut in fear, weakly asked, "Who are you? Why are you trying to catch little Azure?" "Your name is Little Azure, right? Let me ask you, what's wrong with your eyes? Where do you come from?" Eyes are our family's inherited skill, able to see ghosts and dirty things. I can see things with my eyes closed because we have been applying a special potion on our eyelids since childhood, making them thinner. Upon hearing this, before I had a chance to say anything, Su Taoyao behind me already excitedly came closer and asked, "Can ordinary people cultivate the yin-yang eyes? How is the potion that makes the eyelids thinner prepared?" Seeing her like this, I turned my head and sarcastically said, "Miss Su, do you have some twisted thoughts in your heart again?" And little Azure lowered her head timidly, replying, "I don't know how to mix the potion. That's unique to my family. It needs to be applied since childhood. Also, to open the yin-yang eyes, you must first see the darkness." The place I came from is very far away from here. We are the Wulu clan. People from our side have to open their eyes. First, they need to be locked in a sealed dark room. It's uncertain how long the door should be closed. It all depends on individual talent. When we see enough darkness, the boundary between yin and yang will be broken. I opened my yin-yang eyes on the 13th day. From now on, I no longer need to open my eyes to see the world. I can see those spirits and dirty things very clearly. My mother is the shaman priestess in the village. One day, while she was performing a ritual to the heavens, she suddenly said that our clan, the Wulu clan, has been abandoned by Newwa, the world mother. From today onwards, no one in our village will be born, and no one will die. At that time, I didn't understand what my mother's words meant. But later, I realized that even if I understood everything, I wouldn't be able to change anything. That night, my mother committed suicide. The next day, there was heavy rain, causing a landslide that blocked the village's only exit. Everyone was trapped, no one could get out, and no one could come in. Due to food shortages, people in the village started fighting with weapons. Everyone was so desperate that they not only fought for food. Some people even started cannibalism. My mother named me as the next shaman before she died. My sister, Little Jade, and other tribespeople who followed my mother locked me in the house to protect me and prevent me from going out. My sister said she would find food for me so that I wouldn't starve. Every day, she is able to bring back some meat for me. At that time, I found it strange why there were no vegetables, but I was too hungry to care much. Gradually, there were fewer and fewer of us, and my sister had more and more wounds on her body. Finally, one day, only I was left. The village seemed to have regained peace. Everyone except my mother had returned. There was no more fighting in the village. At that moment, I finally understood what my mother meant when she said that no one was born and no one died. Everyone had turned into wandering souls, unable to be reincarnated or perish. My sister said to me, "Eat me up, little Azure. From then on, you are the cemetery of our entire village, and you are our gravekeeper." It was also from that day onwards. I became the cemetery and gravekeeper of the Wulu clan. Later, I escaped from the village alone, wandered around, and unknowingly ended up here. Hearing this, Zhao, the half-immortal, couldn't help but take a deep breath. The little girl in front of him turned out to be the guardian of a village's grave. No wonder she was so powerful. Alright, the story of Yin Tattoo Master Part 3 ends here. Stay tuned for Part 4. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for your support.